Axis, and we had a lot of fun. We had good people. I mean, Dan McBride is just an insanely crazy talented guy. He's really wonderful, and the girl, Zoe Deschanel, was really, really, really good. And Kate Hudson was awesome. She was spectacular. And Bruce Willis, in the role of a lifetime, we own him now. He had so much fun, we own him.
Yeah, he seems to be in an altered state in this film. That's kind of frightening.
Yeah, I don't think...
And in life.
We had a really good time, and it was fun working with him. I got to work with him on Wes Anderson's movie, The Moonrise Kingdom, and we had a good time together. It turns out we have an ancient history that I wasn't aware of, that he was aware of, so we get on great.
Wait, what's the ancient history?
Well, when I was on Saturday Night Live, Bruce was a page, which means it's sort of like it's a job you take where you're kind of a slave. It's like an intern slave. And his job was actually to refill the M&M and peanut bowls in the actors' dressing rooms. And years later, after a few tequilas, he said, "Only you and Gilder were nice to me. You were the only one." So, but he's all right. He's okay. We had a fun time. Like I say, Morocco, I'm just saying, it's reasonable, it's thrifty. It's not exactly like sleeping underneath Petco Park, but it's pretty good.
Is that where you're staying tonight? You're staying underneath Petco?
You gotta move on. You can't stay in the same place every night, you know what I'm saying? You can't sleep in the same place every night.
About this collaboration, we think a lot of directors, a lot of writers write parts specifically for you, and that can be great, and that can also be terrible. Well, do you find that to be the case when you read things that are intended for you, that people are just going into things you've already played, or what's the trap that people are falling?
I have read scripts that people insist, I've written the script exactly for you. And I read the script and I realize, yeah, these are all my lines from other movies. They really, I was like, it's pretty naked. But when you're thinking when you lose yourself and you're writing for an actor, you can sort of visualize one maybe, but you want to write the story that's inside you. You want to write your story, whether or not, Judi Dench plays the part or Pierce Brosnan, it shouldn't make any difference. You just write the part you want to write. And Mitch is, we've written a lot of things together, and well, he writes them and I rewrite them. Is what really happens.
Do the punctuation.
Yeah, but he's not in the guild.
I'm in the guild, but I don't take the credit. That's another good tip for you young people. Don't bother to take the credit. You get away with a lot more if you don't want to write in credit. You really do. But this rock and roll world, we've all been, being on Saturday Night Live and being friends with Paul Schaefer and all those people who see beneath the rock of rock and roll. They see just all the crazy stories. You see a lot, you witness a lot, and if you've been backstage, you see bizarre behavior.
And I see these guys, his character, as almost like one of those RAF fighter pilots after their day is over. The music has changed so much, and record business has kind of collapsed in a lot of ways. And for a guy like Richie Lance to have the, he ends up taking his secretary and last act to Afghanistan. Not like the ideal gig, really, that you're looking for. So, just the heroism of this guy, staying the course and constantly through the course of the movie saying, I'm going to close this deal, with armed rebels on horseback, was fun to write about. And Bill and I just did a movie with Sofia Coppola, the Christmas thing that she directed, where he actually does get a writing credit, much to my horror. And so, we have written together, so
it turns out you get paid in perpetuity. It's crazy. You get paid for
He's never going to stop now.
It's only about $70, but it's nice.
All that counts.
Yeah, it's the credit. But so I knew him long enough and well enough to know, never say, I wrote this for you. Just gave him the script, and then he jumped on. But and it involves singing, which is always an easy way to get Bill to do anything. You give him smoke on the water.
Do you sing every day, Bill? Do you have to practice your instrument every day?
I sing every day. Sometimes I sing really quietly, very quietly. No, I don't sing every day, but I have a friend who bothers me. He said, "You should be singing. You should be singing today." She was not from America, okay? not, I don't like pick up people like that, you know, because they sound funny. She's from Thailand. Why aren't you singing more? So I'm going to sing more. Or else, I'm going to sing more. Would anyone like to sing anything right now? Is there something you'd like to sing? If we could all just take like 30 seconds, everyone has a song they'd like to sing. Let's just all sing the song you'd like to sing for 30 seconds, okay? Have you tried this? I've never done this. Let's try this for 30 seconds. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3.
Star Wars!
I don't want to overstate this, but I think we just invented a new art form, like an actual
Mass singing.
I don't know if you heard it, but it sounded really good. Really good. It sounded very, very joyous. Really good. Thank you.
This film, correct me if I'm wrong, this is partially based on a true story. I mean, Afghan Star is an actual TV show in the
Yeah, when I was doing the research for it, one of the gifts of doing research is the real world is untoppable. There actually is a version of American Idol in Afghanistan, and it's been there for 8 years now, 8 seasons. And a friend of ours actually has a TV show that does it. And in a city, in a country that's really, obviously, been at war for a quarter of a century, this thing was the one thing that people could unite around. So they would text in, just like American Idol, their favorite singers, and it did break down into, Pashtun and the various groups, but they could unite around the music of it, which really suited the theme of the movie. And we got Yusuf Islam, Cat Stevens, to give us some songs, and I mean, it ends with Peace Train, a spectacular version of it. So yes, it is based on a true story, and there was in the second or third season of Afghan Star, the first woman, Pashtun woman, to come up and sing, and she was warned not to sing or dance, and there were death threats against her, but she had the courage to do it, and she didn't win, but she was an astounding talent, and broke a lot of ground. It was a really amazing story. We dedicated the movie to her, and our character's name is Salima, is played by Leem Lubani, who was at the time a 17-year-old Palestinian girl from Nazareth, great singer and amazing actress, and she and Bill are spectacular together. So that is one of the deeper stories of the film, is the empowerment of this woman, and also the ability for the culture to change, hopefully.
I'm curious, Bill, I mean, we were talking a little bit about musical taste. Like, do you connect at all to music today, or your tastes sort of stuck where they were? A lot of people, they're stuck when they come of age, or like when they're 20 or something.
No, I mean, I still like music that I heard when I was 20, and some of it's, obviously it's lived a long time, it still is great. But, I like music. I don't care where it's coming from.
Jenny Lewis?
We were with our friend Jenny Lewis the last few days, and she's a great singer from California. I did go see the Grateful Dead's last show in Chicago, but I went with Jenny Lewis, and we were backstage with dubious other rock and roll characters. But there were a lot of fun people, Woody Harrelson, and I like this band, they called Double X or Double XX. I think they're cool. I accidentally saw them in Nashville. I thought they were great. And this fella Chris Stapleton, the young singer guy. No, I just like what I like. I'm not tied down to it. I listen to Channel 15. I listen to the Pulse. And I listen to Chill. Okay.
And
it's a mood swing thing with me. Pulse, I go Chill.
And we'll be hearing this next collaboration, you singing some Christmas songs, presumably.
And we did this Goofy Christmas show, and which was kind of a great story that we wrote, and we had a bunch of unusual people in it. We had old school guys. We had Buster Poindexter, David Johansen.
From Scrooge. Yeah.
From Scrooge. Yeah. We had Jenny Lewis. We had Rashida Jones.
Phoenix.
We had the Phoenix, the band Phoenix. We had Paul Schaefer, Jason Schwartzman.
Of course.
Miley
And
Cyrus.
out of nowhere comes Miley Cyrus.
Incredible.
I gotta say, I'm gonna say this officially. Miley Cyrus is good. I was not particularly convinced. Miley Cyrus is really fucking good. She can really sing. You know, I thought she was just a knucklehead crazy girl and kind of like, you know, the kind of girl you'd want to go on a road trip with, maybe didn't have ID or something, you know. She can really sing, and she floored everybody. She just floored everybody. Paul Schaefer and George Clooney, all these guys, like, holy Christ, she's really good.
Yeah.
She really can sing. So I don't want to hear more bad rapping of Miley Cyrus. Okay? Leave it for, well, who should we leave it for? Raise your hand. Who should we leave it for? But not Miley Cyrus. She's very close.
He's a pro.
We're going to let the audience ask a few questions in a second, but indulge me.
Yeah, we'll leave it for Rick Ross. Rick Ross is the guy we can run now.
Since it is Comic-Con, indulge me, I have one Comic-Con-y question. There's a lot of lore about your career. One is that you were up for Han Solo way back when. Well, I don't know if you've heard, Bill, they are recasting Han Solo in a prequel. So I guess what I'm saying is, was it true? Were you ever up for Han Solo? And B, are you still up for taking on the role too?
Oh, God, it's a big moment for me.
I know.
I don't know that I was ever up for Han Solo. I couldn't tell you for sure, but I am working out now in the hopes of getting this new thing. You know, just a lot of swimming and Pilates. I'm really going to work hard at it.
I would expect there are a few questions from this audience. Are we ready for a question or two?
I got a spotlight too. Cool. Let's go. Holy Jesus, it's Superman! I can see you. Just shout.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, here we go. Hey, Bill, I know you like to sing like we saw today, and I know Zoe likes to sing. In Rock the Kasbah, do you guys do like your own little song together, or something freestyle in the movie?
Well, I sing in the shower. I sing "Can't Find My Way Home" by those guys, and Zoe sings "I'm a Bitch, I'm a Woman." You know that song? She does a great job. She really kills it. She can really sing. Actually, we had a rap party on a galleon, a ship, literally like an old-fashioned three-masted ship that they've turned into a bar somewhere in Morocco. And so they had a, what do you call it? You know, it's a karaoke night, right?
Karaoke night?
So she chooses to sing "We Are the World" as her karaoke song. Do you know how hard it is to sing that song? Try it sometime. It's up there to sing, and she's got to imitate like 14 of the greatest. She's got to sing the pitches and the keys and notes of like 14 of the greatest singers in America. It's a staggering piece of work. So if she died tomorrow, I'd say her karaoke work will live forever. But you have another question, because we walked a long way.
I'll just say thank you for being here. We're so happy to have you here. Thank you.
We love you, Bill May!
Oh my God, it's another one of my cousins.
And, oh, there's the mic. Hi, guys. I have a question involving Richie Lanz's managerial standards, Mr. Murray. Would he consider ever taking on, like, say, a classical act, or like a juggler, or possibly a unicorn?
I mean, it's all contractual. But everyone's looking for a unicorn. We all are. Everyone in the management business is looking for a unicorn. Have you got something you'd like to sing at this instant?
It's a small world.
Great. Okay. Great. Stop what you're doing. It's great. Don't change a thing. Don't change a thing.
Somebody that's asking some good questions is sorry.
We got it. You're next.
Hello, Bill Murray. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, especially here with you. I'm going to be camping out again tonight, so you're welcome to sleep with me outside Hall H. Mitch, my question's for you.
I'm still having that picture in my head. Sorry, go ahead.
But I was wondering if trying to get him to say the lines that you actually wrote was hard, or if he just goes on and on.
No,
in his own
here's
way.
the thing. There's a myth about that. He's very good with the script. He does. I was saying to my writing partner on Scrooge, who was going mental because every time Bill would change anything, I'd say it gets better, but so we should be thrilled with that, and he is wonderful at it. But at this point, I do understand. I do know his voice after writing for him with him for all these years, so it's pretty close to what it is. But it gets better, on the day, and Barry Levinson had the occasional idea and all that. But no, he's very respectful of writers, and SNL comes out with it. That's how it is. He doesn't change a word, is what I'm trying to say. Not one.
We love that kind of collaboration.
It's amazing.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. How many people is she asking to sleep with her? That's what I want. Does everyone give her a button when they leave? I want to feel a little bit special.
Hi, so my name is Jonah. I just want to say first that your comedy's really gotten me through a lot of hard stuff. And what I was wondering was, with a film like this, what was maybe the best or funniest part of filming it? Like maybe a favorite memory?
Well, it's really, when you go to a place that's so foreign, you're on another continent. You're on another continent. You're in another culture, a combination culture. A country that's been invaded by the French and the Spanish and the Berbers. They live there. They've had their own wars. You feel the wind get pulled from the ocean by the Sahara. The Sahara pulls the moist air to the desert. It's an extraordinary sensation to be there. So I think one thing that was really amazing, there was a night in Marrakesh, and I call it Marrakesh because I'm too hip to say Marrakesh. There was a night in Marrakesh where we were at a restaurant which you wouldn't even notice. It looks like it's sort of an industrial stucco building downtown, but you open the doors and it's this magical tile, fern, water, light building that's been there for centuries. And you're inside of this thing and you march up through the entire building to the roof. And on the roof, they've made the accommodation where they serve vodka, and tequila. And you're on the roof and there's a two-man band, just a man with a four-string instrument and a drum. And they're playing something you've never heard in your life. You're on top of the city, overlooking the market. And the stars are above you, and there's this rhythm that's thousands of years old. And you think, I'm in the Actors Union, I'm just a guy from Illinois, and I'm here being able to touch and listen to something that's affected people for many centuries. And you just get reminded you have a responsibility to take what we're given and pass it on. Transform yourself somehow and pass it on. Hi.
Hi, Mr. Bill Murray. I was just curious, what has been your favorite role to play ever?
upon a time, I did save the city of New York. When I had the coolest damn car to drive around Manhattan.
Thank you.
Hi Bill, I'm James from Nerd Central, and this movie looks awesome. I want to know, has it got a rocking soundtrack with some karaoke options?
It has, well, it has some kind of a classic rock soundtrack because it's, you know, he's an old-time promoter, but, you know, our friend Steve Bing, who's one of our producers, managed to call in favors from some of the greatest, you know, Bob Dylan, you know, Leon Russell, these the great names, Eric Clapton, Steve Winwood. There's some, you know, Steve Stills, Neil Young.
Kid Rock.
He's jokingly saying Kid Rock over here. Kid Rock. But it's a fantastic soundtrack, and there's great music through it. It's a powerful movie. I don't know. Have any of you? No, has anyone seen the movie yet?
No, it's not.
It's not out yet. Okay. Well, I've seen it. And it's really good. I would not be appearing in public if I didn't think it were really good. It's really good.
And music is part of. I mean, his character is a rock manager. The girl that he discovers sings only Cat Stevens songs because she's Muslim, and so you have a, you know, so music it's not just the soundtrack; it's actually part of the film. But there's going to be a great soundtrack for it. I promise.
Hi, Bill. I know you're probably sick of hearing this, but Assalamu alaikum. I wanted to know if you felt that as a legendary actor, if you had a responsibility to educate the masses through entertainment roles like this.
Well, that's a fine question. I think you could take it that way, but it's sort of like I was saying to the other gentleman, not the other gentleman, but the gentleman. You don't have an obligation to educate through your work. I think when people try to do that, I mean, you do it if you do it correctly. But I think if you set out with that intention, I'm going to educate people with my work, you're sort of aiming at the curb. You're not exactly aiming at the stars. You know? I think if you educate people with your work, you're aiming even higher. You're not even offering to educate people about, say, the issue of women in Afghanistan or freedom somewhere. You're talking about trying to live by principles that we only aspire to, you know, that we mostly don't achieve, that we mostly don't attain. And you don't take yourself so seriously, but you try your hardest to comport yourself. It's a word you don't get to use, but comport yourself to be alive, you know, now. To be alive now. So if we can all be alive now, really just be here inside of our skin now, not next to us, not in the aisle in front of us or down the row. If we can be in our skin right now, then as a group we're all elevating somehow. Yes, we're all going up. We're all rising. And all you can do if you can try to be that way on screen, on the film, and it's sort of ideal in a way because most of us only have a short attention span anyway, at least certainly as I do. If you can be that way for as long as you are on the screen, sometimes the take only lasts a minute and a half or something, I can hold it together for a minute and a half. I can be calm and relaxed and alive that long. And that gives you hope to do it again. You know? It's a lot of work, but it gives you hope to do it again. And you can see that even though there's not an intention to do a certain thing, that happens on the way to trying to make the other thing occur. Does that make sense?
The personal becomes universal, you know. So the story, it's not like Shring. It's a great ride, but the story of this woman or whatever or this guy becomes universal, you know, in the telling of it. So it's not like a lecture or anything. I think that's part of what you're saying too, and I hope so.
Well, hope is a very big part of it. Thank you. That's a wonderful question. Thank you.
My knees are shaking a little, I'm sorry.
Your knees?
Yeah.
All right, well, see if you can make it move up to your hips. You get your hips moving, then your arms are going to go above your head, and it's all going to happen.
So my question is about Bruce Willis. Is he a jackass on set? Does he have a soft heart that you really need to dig into, or is he a nice foil to you? What is he like?
Well, he's a movie star. You know, he's a movie star. And, you know, you hear stories about people, and, you know, I mean, I don't know if I've heard really a whole hell of a lot of stories about him, but you hear stories about people that, oh, he's tripping on people, whatever. Well, when you're the movie star, and a real movie star, and he is one, you have to sometimes take matters into your own hands. You know, you really do. In the name of entertainment, for one, in the name of, and really in the name, more often than you think, in the name of just respecting the crew, you know, because there are people that try to sort of take over a situation and dominate people. I don't want to say producer slime specifically. No, I don't want to say a certain kind of person, but there are people that want to take advantage of a group situation and dominate. There's a personality flaw. And a movie star can step into the middle and say, no, that ain't going to happen, boss. That's not going to happen. And they'll get a little loud, you know, and they'll get in someone's face. And that story gets repeated because that person got loud or that person got in someone's face. But the movie star, they're a noble race, they really are. You have to sort of, and they're an endangered species, that's right. Sometimes they get really loud and ugly and cantankerous in the name of protecting like an integrity to the job. And it's not just the script or the hours that you have to work, or how the crew is treated, the food that they're served. I mean, it's a whole lot of things. My experience with Bruce has been on 2 films. Moonrise Kingdom, wasn't too shabby, that movie, and this one, Rock the Kasbah. And he and I shared, I mean, we had, you know what a 2-banger is in terms of a trailer? A 2-banger is, it's not even a studio apartment. It's like half as much room to Josh's side. That's for he and his crowd, and this is for, you know, he wasn't tripping at all. You know, he had a dinky little trailer in a dusty little place where there's no air conditioning, and the smoke blew in your face and the sand blew in your eyes, and it was 116 degrees one day, you know. Black. And he was dressed in black, which is slimming, but hot.
Thank you so much, Bill Murray, and for teaching me a new dance move.
You're gonna find that chick with the buttons, my friend.
Hello. You're live to São Paulo, Brazil. And so, actually the social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, evolved to live posting and live all the things. So what do you think about empowering minorities? And so what do you do to make things better?
Who's that question for? Well, if you're asking me, am I in favor of empowering minorities? Absolutely. I think, you know, the world is changing. It's very slow. It's very slow, and it doesn't change the way we want it. You know, there is a justice in the world, It just doesn't come when we want it. It comes slowly. It's planetary. It's universal. It comes, but it comes very slowly. And you can hit a table and say this is wrong. That doesn't mean it's going to change overnight. Like there's a flag flying from a building in South Carolina that people are really upset about, and it's going to change. It's changed. It's going to change, but it doesn't change because someone says so. There's something that's got to change in the way it is. I mean, we were a country that was founded with a glorious Declaration of Independence at a time when we still had slavery, and the deal was, okay, we'll sign it. They couldn't get the deal done. They said, okay, we'll sign it, but in 1820, the laws started changing and people had to start giving away their slaves. There really were, I mean, if you really look into the history of it, they made a deal like, okay, we're going to end slavery, but we can't get it done today, okay? They made like a 50-year plan to get it done. It's insane, but that was the way, you had to make some sort of compromise with people that wouldn't bend back then. It was wrong. Still is wrong, but, you can only make it happen so fast. So how do you make it change? It really starts with yourself. We are slaves ourselves. We're slaves to our own weakness. We're slaves to our bodies and we're slaves to our emotions. If you can free your own self, that's a huge help. That's really all you can. That's really the best thing you can do. And that state that you enter then, that you attain, affects everyone around you.
What do you think the funniest part in the movie is?
Yeah, I'll take that one for Bill. There's a part where, spoiler alert, there's an explosion, and Bill's character, it seems like he's been affected by the explosion, but he's deafened by it, and as written, it wasn't quite as funny as it ended up on the screen because he just starts stomping around the desert, and Bruce Willis is saying, come back here, and for me, there's like a 30-second moment in the movie that's pure physical comedy, the best of what he does. You'll see when you see the movie. It's just, you'll be laughing, I promise. You personally. It's really funny.
We have time for just a couple more. Home stretch. Here we go.
Hey, Bill Murray. I don't know if you've ever heard, but there's people that share around these stories of you doing crazy things and acting weird and then turning to the person that's telling the story and saying, no one will ever believe you. I was curious if any of those stories have any validity to them, and if not, like if you have heard of them, is there one that really is like you've heard and you're like, wow, that's pretty crazy?
I don't know what he was talking about. It sounds like fun though, doesn't it?
I can attest to one. My wife is here who starred in Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze. Kelly Lynch is here. And I can attest to one of those stories, which is for about, it felt like 20 or 30 years, but for about 5 or 6 years, anytime Roadhouse was on, and I mean, it was on TNT every 15 minutes, it seemed. So it'd be 4 in the morning. He actually once called me from Russia at a wedding to say, your wife is banging Patrick Swayze. And then there was a moment where all his brothers were calling me at weird hours to do the same voice. So I mean, I don't know about the, you'll never believe it, but Kelly and I were haunted.
question. This is my daughter, Annika. So this is baby's first legend she's witnessing on stage right now. So thank you for being here. My question is, being surrounded by all these nerds, the greatest group gathering of them in the world, really, every year. What is your niche in the nerds? So is it Star Trek, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Firefly, Doctor Who? Where do you fit in amongst us?
That's a great question. That really is a good question. And I wondered about it myself. I have a taser with me. I didn't know what to expect. I honestly didn't know what my place was before I came. I didn't know. I've been nearby and seen just sort of like television kind of coverage of what's happening, but I must say it feels wonderful to be in this room. It really does. I have a lot of dress-up outfits at home that I would surprise you with. I'm not going to tell you. I really want to surprise you. But I feel like I feel comfortable in this room, and that there's I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's passion or, I like when people get excited about something, there's a lot of people that just don't get excited about much at all. They'd only get excited about food or something, or TV or something. But the fact that you all are excited about something in particular, and really just the forms, the fantastic forms, the creative forms, that's pretty cool. It's nerdy, but it's some of the best parties I've ever been to were with really insane nerds. Crazy. Like, I was at a party once at the Skywalker Ranch up there. You talk about nerds. I mean, these people, they should have their blood tested, or recycled or something, transfused into other people. But the rap party, when we finished the work up there, was one of the craziest and most maniacal I've ever seen. It was really fun. Playing to a band called El Rayo X, by David Lindley's band. Anyone know this band? It's like a really stupid, and people literally bouncing upside down on their heads and standing on their heads and stuff. It really was stupid fun. I liked it a lot.
Well, Bill, we are very proud to embrace you as one of our own here at Hall H. You guys have kicked off. This is literally the first big panel of Comic-Con. Hall H has been kicked off in great style. Please give it up one more time, making his first